Hello and welcome to my reality Jeep life with me, the Vermont Jeepgirl, and this is my daily vlog of 2013. Today I am going to be setting up my gears, and in order for me to do that, I have to get to my carrier because I'm not using this ring and I'm not using the bearings. So what I have here is I have a bearing separator, okay, with a homemade plate that we made. And I'm going to use my impact gun on top here, and slowly this will start to lift up because I'm going to remove my bearings first. Okay. When we're doing this, it's going to be very important. Let me get this bearing out of here. Here's our bearing and its race. Take my makeshift tools here. It's going to be very important, these shims that are on here. This one's got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And they are all different thicknesses. What we want to do is keep these and record what side they came off of. Okay, it's very, very important. Now that we have our bearing off, there is a set of shims here. There is 4 of them, and each one is different thicknesses. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to label which side of the carrier they came off of, so when we go to set up our new gears, we need this number as a starting point. So I'm going to label these the non-gear side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work on the bottom one. The first thing we do, take our race off. Okay, take our separator, line it up under this bearing. Tighten this down. Now that my other side is set up, I'm going to pull the bottom bearing off. This one was a little more stubborn. Here's our bottom bearing. A little bit of gear oil on her. And again, very important, there will be shims on the ring side also. Again, we got 4, but again, they're different thicknesses. And this is the number we're going to use to start off our setup. Okay. So what we're going to do is save these. And again, label them ring side. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to do to get to my carrier is I'm going to be removing the bolts out of the ring gear. Now that I've removed my bearings and my shims, and I've labeled them, I've also tied my bearings up. They are in great shape. If I ever need an extra set for whatever reason, I've wire tied them together with the race, and I will put them in my stockpile. I'm almost to my carrier. I have to take my ring gear off right now, and I have to remove all the bolts around. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove the ring gear from the carrier. Okay, I want to be very careful with the ends of my carrier because I am reusing this. I don't want to bugger up any of these ends down here on either side. Now, this guy. There she goes. Okay. Here's our carrier we're going to be using. Here's the old ring gear. Still in great shape. The teeth look awesome on it. We'll probably be storing this one in storage. Not that anybody wants 354 gears, but hey, you never know. What I'm going to do next on my carrier, I'm going to be driving out this little pin right here, and I'll be removing the center pin in the middle, and we'll be removing the spider gears. On this particular carrier, the pin that we have to push out that's holding the center pin in is, we just need to take a punch and punch it out. On my Dana 30 and 35 carrier, this pin just happened to be, it was like a little skinny, little tiny little bolt, I believe, 1/8 inch wrench. I don't remember what it was. It was really super tiny. But anyway, what we're going to do right now is we're going to pound this one out. So I'm going to put my punch down here. Give it a wham. You can see the pin that I'm driving starting to come out. There it goes. This little pin was holding the center pin here. I'm going to have to give that a little pounding too. Here's our center pin with a little bit of elbow grease. We got it out. What we're going to be doing is we need to save this pin. We are going to be using this when we install the Aussie locker. So this is important that it's not damaged. It's in good shape. And the pin that holds it in. Now, I'm going to take the gears out. Okay, the only thing that's left inside of our carrier is our spider gears. And in order to get the spider gears out, I'm just going to rotate it a little bit. Here's one of the end shims. There. Okay, there's the first one. And the bottom one. Come here, Daddy, come on out. I would like to show you something on the ring gear. This is the one that I just took off my carrier, the 354. And on the back, you can see that there's 10 bolt holes, okay? On the G2 series ring gear that I'm using, it's a thick gear, which actually here I'll show you the difference in thickness, okay? And also, the G2 is double drilled. And you want to know why? Because this ring gear can be used on 2 different types of carriers. It can accommodate the Rubicon or the JK, which then you would use the larger size holes. Or for my application on my Dana 44, and here's my bolts, I'm going to be using the smaller holes. I'm going to be using the smaller holes. So this item can fit on 2 different types of carriers. These are the size bolts that I'm using for my carrier. And if you were using the Rubicon or the JK, which I don't want to open this bag, you'd be using the much larger size bolts that would fit in the larger holes.